War rages in the Middle East, and back at home, the media lies about the littlest things and it gets annoying. Enjoy the episode. So, the media, as you know it, are supposed to be the people that tell you the truth, right? And the media and these different corporations are full of journalists that are trying their best to get the right story out to make sure that you are well informed. But what happens if the media fails to tell the story correctly? What if there are some media websites that hate Donald Trump so much or don't want to hurt people's feelings, so they change the story? They change a headline to make themselves and those people look better. Like right now, the United States is winning this war with Iran. Any way you put it, we are winning this war 100%, no doubt in my mind. We have destroyed their entire leadership, their navy, their military. We've literally destroyed everything. Trump's not even sure who's going to be their next supreme leader because we killed so many of them. However, as I talked about last week, when the supreme leader was actually killed, there was a lot of confusion going on. Was he actually dead? Was he actually killed? Israel came out and said that he was killed, but we weren't really sure if they were just saying that. And then the United States finally got it, and then the Iranian media finally came out and confirmed 100% that their supreme leader had died. But when the supreme leader died, the Washington Post decided to write a nice little obituary for him. As they wrote, with his bushy white beard and easy smile, Ayatollah Khamenei cut a more avuncular figure in public than his perpetually scowling but much more revered mentor, and he was known to be fond of Persian poetry and classic Western novels, especially Victor Hugo's Les Miserables. Okay, so this sounds like an obituary or something that you would write for your grandpa, not the dictator of Iran. And honestly, it makes me laugh because when Trump passes away, there's no way they're gonna write anything like this in his obituary. They'll talk about how he was a terrible person and how he was the worst person ever, but when there's an actual evil person that dies, they're like, oh, he likes Les Mis, he likes Persian poetry, guys. He wasn't that bad of a guy. Now, it isn't all terrible articles that we have seen from the media, as some of them have actually been funny throughout this whole Iranian regime situation, as Iran has been on the search for a supreme leader ever since their supreme leader met a explosive end. There was a council of experts that apparently met in some high-rise building, which was a stupid mistake because Israel saw where they were meeting and blew them all up. And then there was an interim supreme leader who was supposed to be the supreme leader until the new supreme leader was picked. Stay with me. But he was also killed in a military airstrike as well. So no supreme leader in Iran is safe. So basically, Iran was at their last choice. Who was going to be the supreme leader? Well, what about the supreme leader's son? That'll work. That'll be perfect. The question is, where has the son been this whole time? Well, according to the New York Post, he was in London. What was he doing in London? Well, he was trying to get erectile dysfunction treatment because he couldn't reproduce with his wife. Listen, if my dad just got blown up by the United States and Israel, and now they want me to lead the country, the last thing that I would want to see is an article talking about my fertility issues. Also, there are rumors that the son of the supreme leader is also not alive. He was also killed or injured in a recent airstrike. Or maybe he's just in hiding somewhere, but he hasn't made a public appearance since he was chosen to be the supreme leader. Well, actually, he's only made one appearance, but let's just say he's a little stiff. They made a cardboard cutout of this man. That is absolutely crazy. When I first saw this, I'm like, there is no way this video is real. There is no way. But it's true. I looked on Google, I looked on ChatGPT, I looked everywhere, and it says that this photo and these images are real. They made a cardboard cutout of this guy, so then he wasn't killed in a drone strike and he can remain hidden. So last week I talked about sleeper cells that may be activated in the United States, people that support Iran and want to attack Americans because America supports destroying Iran right now. And I talked about how we could possibly see terrorist attacks happen in the United States. And sadly, there was a situation where a terrorist attack did happen, featuring a protest with the one and only Jake Lang, who has been featured in a lot of different protests. He was there on January 6th. He was there for the Minnesota ice riots, and even got in a little bit of trouble for destroying an ice monument made out of ice. And now he showed up at this event where he was almost killed once again. Now, let me say first, I don't believe in everything that this Jack Lang guy says or does. I think he's a little bit crazy and a little bit too extreme for my taste. And honestly, I think he's going to get himself killed if he keeps doing these crazy, wild, wacky things. This story, however, is bigger than what Jack Lang actually believes. Let me break it down for you. So Jake Lang and a group of people were having an anti-Muslim rally outside of Mayor Mamdani's house in New York City. Then there were people that were anti-protesters who were protesting the protest about the protest against Islam. Make sense? So violence erupts during this situation, and at some point someone throws a makeshift bomb. And this bomb is thrown at the anti-Muslim protesters. The bomb fails to go off, thank goodness, but let's see who the media says actually threw the bomb and who's responsible for this attack. The New York Times wrote, "Smoking jars of metal and fuses thrown at protests near mayor's house." The paragraph says, 6 people were arrested after anti-Israel protesters led by right-wing activist Jake Lang clashed with counter-protesters near Gracie Mansion, which is the mansion that Mayor Mamdani lives in. Now, just reading that headline, you would think that it was the right-wingers that were throwing bombs at the other protesters, as CNN came out and called Jake Lang a right-wing provocateur, which he kind of is, but he's not the one who's causing this issue. Senator Liz K. Ruger wrote on X, "New York is no place for anti-Muslim hate or any other kind of prejudice. We don't need out-of-state provocateurs sowing fear, division, and violence in our city." Then Mamdani came out on his own and blamed this attack on white supremacy. Take a look at this.
Good morning. On Saturday, a protest was held outside Gracie Mansion, where I live with my wife, Rama. Neither of us were home at the time. This was a vile protest rooted in white supremacy entitled "Stop the Islamic Takeover of New York City." I'm the first Muslim mayor of our city. Anti-Muslim bigotry is nothing new to me, nor is it anything new for the 1 million or so Muslim New Yorkers who know this city as our home.
Listen, I can see the mayor's point of view in this situation. Anti-Muslim bigotry is wrong and should be called out. And I do think that it was wrong and dumb for Jake Lang to do this protest. It causes a lot of problems for him and others, and he's putting himself at risk and danger of killing himself or hurting other people. The bombing, however, was not his fault, and the attack wasn't his fault either. We have to look at the facts of the story and realize that it was the anti-protesters that were radicalized by ISIS that were the ones that were throwing bombs at these protesters. One of the bomb makers that was arrested claimed in a statement that he wanted to carry out an attack bigger than the Boston Marathon bombing, and noted that only 3 people died in the Boston bombings. So this guy lit the fuse and he threw it, and somehow the fuse went out, which thank goodness it did, because this bomb was full of nails, it was full of screws, it was full of all sorts of things that were terrible and could really harm people. Along with that, it had an explosive with the code name of Mother of Satan, which is a volatile explosive favored by international terrorists. And these 2 guys that were arrested were radicalized by ISIS, and they also traveled to Turkey and other countries where they were more radicalized into this terror organization. So why would the media protect these 2 guys by calling them just young teenagers instead of calling them what they actually are? Terrorists. And why would they blame Jake Lang for this whole entire situation when he didn't do anything wrong? Yes, he was a provocateur, but he didn't do anything wrong to cause this bombing to happen, or to almost happen. Honestly, I don't know. Maybe the media is scared that more people will be scared of Muslims because we are attacking Iran right now, and they're scared that they're going to retaliate against us. Or they don't want the public to think that there are actual sleeper cells in the United States, and they want to make sure that everything's peaceful and calm, and the best way to do that is to blame Jack Lang for this whole entire situation. Now, the best came from CNN, who tried to make these 2 terrorists look like saints. As they wrote, Two Pennsylvania teenagers crossed into New York City Saturday morning for what would have been a normal day enjoying the city during abnormally warm weather. But in less than an hour, their lives would drastically change, as the pair would be arrested for throwing homemade bombs during an anti Muslim protest outside of Mayor Zoran Mondani's house. Here's what we know so far. Yes, their lives would change forever because they were terrorists trying to throw bombs and kill people. I don't understand why the media is trying to make bad guys look like good guys. It doesn't make any sense, and it doesn't help you or anyone else who needs to know about the real information that is happening in our country. Like, CNN doesn't even mention that they were radicalized by ISIS. They just say, oh, they're just two teens enjoying a nice warm day in New York City, and their lives somehow changed because they were just throwing bombs. People throw bombs all the time. Just let them go. It is dishonest, it is terrible, and it's bad journalism. What we need to know are the facts in every single situation that comes out. We don't need these fluff pieces. We don't need to protect different people because we need to know what's actually happening in our country so that we can be aware of what's going on. So don't listen to the news and try and look up different things. Try and find your own information and verify it. Make sure that it is true so then you don't get caught peddling the wrong thing. And with that, I just want to thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Dockery Docket. And until next time, like my mom always says, be good, be kind, be loving, goodbye.